The Roman Republic, in the years before Julius Caesar's assassination, was in a state of turmoil. The Roman Republic, once a beacon of stability, was facing internal strife. Political gridlock, social unrest, and economic inequality were rampant. The traditional systems of governance were strained to their breaking point. Powerful generals, using their legions for leverage, further destabilized the Republic. The Republic was on the brink of collapse. The Roman Senate, once a symbol of shared power, became a battleground for ambitious individuals. The common people, disillusioned by the corrupt aristocracy, yearned for a strong leader. This volatile mix of social, economic, and political instability set the stage for the rise of Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar emerged from this chaos as a charismatic and ambitious leader. Born into a patrician family, he quickly rose through the ranks of Roman politics, demonstrating a keen intellect and a flair for leadership. A skilled general, he achieved dazzling victories in Gaul, greatly expanding Rome's territory. His campaigns were marked by strategic brilliance and relentless determination, earning him the respect and admiration of his troops. Caesar's military triumphs made him a hero to the people. The common citizens of Rome saw him as a champion of their interests, someone who could bring stability and prosperity to their lives. He used his fame and wealth to cultivate a loyal following among the plebeians. By distributing land and wealth to his supporters, he ensured their unwavering loyalty and support. His political maneuvering, often bypassing traditional norms, further aggravated his opponents within the Senate. Many senators viewed him as a threat to the Republic's traditional power structures. Caesar's political ambitions were evident in his pursuit of unprecedented power. He sought to centralize authority and diminish the influence of the Senate, aiming to reshape the Roman political landscape. He formed the first triumvirate with Pompey the Great and Marcus Licinius Crassus, forming a powerful political alliance. This alliance allowed them to dominate Roman politics and push through their agendas. This alliance, however, proved to be unstable and short-lived. Personal ambitions and rivalries soon led to its disintegration, setting the stage for further conflict. Crassus died in battle, and tensions between Caesar and Pompey eventually led to a civil war. The conflict tore Rome apart, pitting former allies against each other in a struggle for supremacy. Caesar's victory in the civil war cemented his position as the most powerful man in Rome. His triumph marked the end of the Republic and the beginning of a new era in Roman history. Caesar's growing power and popularity were seen as a threat to the Republic. His populist reforms, while popular with the masses, were viewed with suspicion by the Senate. Caesar's increasing disregard for traditional norms and his accumulation of power alarmed many senators. They saw in him the spectre of a tyrant, a king in all but name. The final straw came when Caesar crossed the Rubicon River, the boundary between Roman Italy and Cisalpine Gaul, with his legions. This act was tantamount to a declaration of war against the Roman Senate. Caesar's crossing of the Rubicon was a turning point. It signaled his willingness to seize power by force, further alienating his opponents. His actions drove a wedge between him and those who valued the Republic above all else. On March 15, 44 BC, a group of senators, led by Gaius Cassius Longinus and Marcus Junius Brutus, assassinated Julius Caesar in the theatre of Pompey. This event, known as the Ides of March, has since become a symbol of betrayal and political intrigue. The senators, who once revered Caesar, turned against him in a brutal and calculated attack. Driven by a mix of personal grudges and a belief they were saving the Republic, they stabbed Caesar to death. The assassination shocked Rome. The conspirators believed that by eliminating Caesar, they were restoring the Republic to its former glory, free from the threat of dictatorship. The conspirators, believing they were acting in the best interests of the Republic, had misjudged the mood of the people. They underestimated Caesar's popularity and the loyalty he commanded among the Roman populace. The assassination, instead of saving the Republic, threw it further into chaos. The streets of Rome were filled with turmoil as citizens grappled with the sudden loss of their leader. The conspirators had not anticipated the outpouring of grief and anger that followed Caesar's death. The assassination backfired spectacularly. Public mourning turned into widespread unrest, and the conspirators found themselves vilified rather than hailed as saviors. It ignited a power vacuum that plunged Rome into a series of civil wars. The power struggle that ensued saw various factions vying for control, leading to years of bloodshed and instability. The death of Caesar marked the end of an era and the beginning of a period of profound instability. His assassination not only altered the course of Roman history, but also left a lasting legacy on the world, symbolizing the perils of political ambition and betrayal. Section 5. The fallout. The power vacuum left by Caesar's assassination led to a period of intense political maneuvering. Mark Antony, Caesar's close friend and ally, seized the opportunity to rise to prominence. He skillfully used Caesar's popularity and his own oratory skills to rally the people to his side. He sought to avenge Caesar's death and claim his mantle of power. The conspirators, led by Brutus and Cassius, found themselves increasingly isolated. Antony, using his influence, turned public opinion against them, forcing them to flee Rome. While they escaped immediate retribution, they had unwittingly unleashed forces they could not control. The assassination had set the stage for a new round of civil wars that would determine the fate of Rome. Section 6. The Second Triumvirate. Into this volatile situation stepped Octavian, Caesar's adopted son and heir. Though young and initially underestimated, Octavian proved to be shrewd and ambitious. He quickly consolidated his power base, drawing upon the loyalty that Caesar had inspired. He formed the Second Triumvirate with Mark Antony and Marcus Aemilius Lepidus, a powerful alliance that mirrored the first. The Second Triumvirate, unlike its predecessor, was formed with the purpose of restoring order and avenging Caesar's death. They ruthlessly purged their enemies, initiating proscriptions that resulted in the deaths of thousands, including Cicero. However, this alliance, too, was destined for conflict. The ambitious Octavian and the charismatic Antony were rivals for power, and their uneasy alliance would eventually fracture. Section 7. Caesar's heir. The Second Triumvirate, though initially successful in restoring order, proved to be as unstable as the first. The rivalry between Octavian and Antony intensified. Octavian, based in the West, gradually consolidated his power and presented himself as the true heir to Caesar's legacy. He skillfully used propaganda and political maneuvering to undermine Antony. Antony, meanwhile, had formed a romantic and political alliance with Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt. This alliance, while strategically sound, provided ample ammunition for Octavian's propaganda machine. He portrayed Antony as a traitor, seduced by a foreign queen, and neglecting his duties to Rome. The stage was set for a final showdown between the two men. Section 8. Actium and the End of the Republic. The final conflict between Octavian and Antony culminated in the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. This naval battle, fought off the coast of Greece, proved decisive. Octavian's forces, commanded by the skilled general Marcus Agrippa, decisively defeated the combined fleets of Antony and Cleopatra. The victory at Actium marked the end of the Roman Republic. Antony and Cleopatra fled back to Egypt, where they both committed suicide. Octavian, now the undisputed master of Rome, returned to the city in triumph. He had avenged Caesar's death and secured his own position as the sole ruler of Rome. The Republic, racked by years of civil war and instability, was at an end. A new era, the Roman Empire, was about to begin. Section 9. Conclusion. The legacy of Caesar and Augustus. The assassination of Julius Caesar was a pivotal event in Roman history. It was a moment that sent shockwaves through the Roman world, altering the course of its future forever. It marked the end of the Roman Republic and paved the way for the rise of the Roman Empire. The power vacuum left by Caesar's death led to a series of conflicts and power struggles. While Caesar's assassination was meant to save the Republic, it had the opposite effect. The conspirators hoped to restore the old order, but instead they unleashed chaos and civil war. It plunged Rome into a period of civil wars and instability that ultimately led to the emergence of Augustus, Caesar's adopted son, as the first Roman emperor. Augustus, originally named Octavian, was a shrewd and strategic leader. Augustus, learning from the mistakes of his adoptive father, carefully disguised his autocratic rule under a veneer of republican restoration. He presented himself as the restorer of the republic while consolidating his power behind the scenes. He maintained the outward forms of the republic, such as the Senate and traditional offices, but in reality he held absolute power. This clever political maneuvering allowed him to rule unchallenged for decades. The Roman Empire, born out of the ashes of the Republic, would go on to become one of the most powerful and enduring empires in history. Its influence stretched across continents and centuries. However, the transition from Republic to Empire came at a cost. The civil wars and power struggles left deep scars on Roman society. The very ideals of liberty and shared power that had defined the Roman Republic were extinguished, replaced by the autocratic rule of an emperor. The legacy of Caesar and Augustus is a complex one, marked by both the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter in Roman history.